I don't have flags.
Well,
That's
whose
okay.
fault is that? That's a yellow on Becca.
I don't care. Bring them to me.
Bring me my flags.
You
No
brought
accent.
you brought the crappy ones?
Yep, this is what you get. Don't throw a fit.
This is like cheap generic grossness.
Hey, I bought those for you.
Yeah, Becca.
Speeding up, no slowing down.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Track Packers podcast for episode 5 of season 4. I think we're officially out of beanie season. We've survived the winter. We're still in spring, but we have racing coming up very, very soon. With myself, Mason, and the Pelkeys, Becca and Jessup, joining me for this episode. How are you two doing, Becca? Is the rest of the family all kind of settled in for the night?
Riley is asleep. She has been sick since Christmas, so because she hasn't been feeling the best, she has been waking up multiple times throughout the night. But this past week and a half or so, she has been sleeping through the night. So that means I get mostly a full night of sleep, and so that's always a good thing. Other than that, just trying to get ready for racing season because that is practically here. It is practically here.
Yeah, so it's good that you're getting a full night of sleep. Are you sure about this one, though?
They they kept me up last night.
He typically sleeps downstairs so that he can get a full night of sleep.
I just wanted to be by my partner in crime, my beautiful wife and dog.
Because
Gordy, not Becca.
if he does sleep in the same room as me, and he does not go back to sleep immediately after Riley wakes up, then he's up all night and then he's a bear in the morning. And I just don't want to put up with that. So I just banish him to the basement and do it on my own.
Banished.
And funny enough, the basement is usually 15 degrees colder, so he's probably
Oh,
very, very comfortable down there.
Yeah, probably.
it is nice.
But yeah, so Riley's feeling better, and she just turned 7 months old, and she is just a little spitfire of personality. And I can't wait to bring her to the races so that everyone can meet her. And yeah, she's going to be our newest little volunteer over at Dakota Speedway.
Yep, she's going to get put to work here pretty dang soon. Besides being tired, Jessup, how are you doing?
I just want to know where I'm at on this whole starting grid after the pre-race cautions on both you and Becca. I believe I should be near the front.
Well, in a typical race, the cautions that happen before they really don't happen before an official green flag
See,
flies. So
this
your
would be
point
more
is,
of like one of the, you're not equipped properly to go out onto the track, so you will have to not race. So I win.
yeah, we're making up rules as we go. Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, just it reminds me of our governing board for the podcast.
The governing board does have to make modifications every now and then
You know,
with with due with
before we get too
legit
far
cause.
about the modification part, it always finds a way to involve me being impacted negatively with these modifications.
It's
Gee,
usually
I
because
wonder
you deserve
why.
them.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why you guys single me out. I'm like the great innovators of all time for our podcast. Some people cheat and get really famous for that in NASCAR and dirt track racing. I don't cheat. I find the gray areas.
Yeah, he's the Junior Johnson of the podcast.
That is an honor to be considered one of the greats like Junior Johnson.
Half the rule book is written because of him.
Yeah,
It is. And John.
yeah, and John has contributed his share of rules too.
So where am I?
You'll find out in
Well,
just a minute.
so this will also, once we figure out where we're at, I have another question.
What?
I can't, I said when I figure it out where I'm at, I have a question.
I don't think you're gonna like where you're at.
You're probably not going to like where you're at. Although, personally speaking, I'm doing great. Regardless of where I am in the lineup, I'm having a great time. The weather is great. I've been running outside. Racing season is pretty much here. I won't be at a racetrack too much this month, unfortunately, but still, the fact that we have racing on the near horizon, the weather's been pretty good. It's got me excited for the season. And so we hope everyone out there is excited for the season as well. Thank you to all the listeners and watchers of the show, and thank you for supporting us, including our presenting sponsor, Hitch Harness, and Tyler Hall out of Fertile, Minnesota, who is also getting ready for the season. I don't know if he's going to be racing a lot this year, but he will be at the racetrack in some capacity. What you can do to support Tyler and our adventures is go to hitchharness.com and check out the products he has, including the signature hitch harness, which is designed for safe and efficient storage of your receiver hitches in the back of the truck. Head over to the website. If you have any questions, get a hold of Tyler in case you have questions on style, maybe installation, any other needs you may have. He'll be happy to point you in the right direction. We want to thank Tyler for supporting us over the last few years on the podcast. And now, drum roll, the lineup goes like this. Becca's on the pole, followed by Jessup and myself. Now, there's a caveat to myself because John's not going to be here for this podcast. When we do have a full field back on the podcast, I will still be starting at the rear because I do deserve a caution because a few episodes ago, we actually crossed 100 total episodes. And I
What?
completely forgot to bring that up. Because I'm supposed to be keeping track of all the milestones, and I believe it's like 3 episodes ago. It's like, oh hey, we've been podcasting for over 100 episodes, which is pretty dang cool. So
I'm
Mason.
not mad.
yeah,
I'm
so
just
I'm relegating myself to the back until we have a full field here, and then I can start to move up.
So the
That
old
could be a
school
while.
track officials would be going, pointing at Mason, and then you
Yeah.
point to your rear to signal that Mason must take the rear of the field. It's a
Now,
classic.
because of this, don't be skipping out on podcasts just to keep me at the back of the field.
Why would I skip? I'm still in the front.
You are on the front row.
Now,
Yes.
the next question is really to confuse you and everything, and it would be more so for our audience that's watching this, not listening. Um, do we have the implementation of the choose cone if I want to go inside row one, outside row one? Maybe
Is
I
this
want to
with
go.
soda?
It could be. It could be NASCAR. It could be high limits for all we know.
So I know they do the choose rule in Challenge Series. Are they doing that at all with soda events now? I can't remember.
I believe tracks have the option for that.
There's
Okay.
3 restarting
You
options that Wisoda can implement, or Wisoda track can implement. Most will probably do the Delaware double file restart. There's also the Delaware double file hybrid, where instead of, let's see, your leader starts front row, and then second place has their choice of inside outside.
And then they go opposite of that.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and then the third option would be the choose cone. So
Gotcha.
and that was
Well,
all decided at last year's rules meeting at the Wasota Banquet.
well, the governing body of the Track Packers podcast does meet on a weekly basis, so I could bring this up to them to see if they would like to implement a restart rule of this nature.
Another question. Has my order of 2-time defending track packer national champion shirts come in yet?
I was not aware that there was an order being placed. And you need to have, typically with orders, you need a minimum number of, orders to
Yeah,
fulfill that.
I think there would be enough out there.
Sure.
Well, you let me know how many orders you have and see if it will meet the minimum criteria, and then we can get that order placed.
Well, let's see.
Maybe someone with a
So
cricket will feel
I
sorry for you and they'll make you a shirt.
Oh, that would be neat. If someone could do that for me, I would not be opposed to wearing it at just about every podcast and every race I go to.
Speaking of, we still do have quite a few beanies.
What?
I love
Yes,
my
we still
beanie.
have
I
quite a few
thought they
beanies.
sold out.
No, we have not sold out. We still have beanies in stock, and so the nights still will get pretty cool. So if you need something to warm your head at the races, especially these first few weekends, get a hold of us. We can hook you up.
Just because
Look,
the weather
guys.
high, just because the high will be like 70, doesn't mean it's gonna be 70 degrees at 7 o'clock. It's gonna be like 60, 55 degrees at 7 o'clock. So
Look, if we can
definitely
get this injustice overturned and put me back in my rightful spot, which is on the pole, I will make sure everyone who writes in gets a beanie.
You're on the front row. What's there to complain about?
how about
Everything.
anyone that actually rates our podcast?
Ooh,
They
first
get a
person to
beanie.
rate, give us a 5-star rating with
And leave
a
a
comment,
review.
so I can actually read it on there with it stating that I should be on the poll.
I'll say if you read it very nicely, you may be able to move up. Anyways,
Wow, there is collusion in this in this organization this year.
let's officially start episode 5 of season 4 with the waving the green flag and get into who or what are we repping. Becca, who or what are you repping?
Tonight I am repping a t-shirt from Shelby Williams. I got this on the mod tour a couple of years ago. So nice little t-shirt for Shelby. Oh, there is a little back design. So Shelby's had a really good year so far. I shouldn't say really good year. It's more of an up and down year so far. He's got 5 wins on the season so far. Was your Winter Nationals IMCA Stock Car champion, but then went over to Clash on the Coast and wrecked his car. So quite an up and down season so far, but hopefully we'll see him back on the Dakota Classic Modified Tour. He's quite the fan favorite up here. And so, yeah, tonight I'm repping Shelby Williams.
Excellent. I'm actually kind of jealous. That is a very nice shirt. I wish I would have gotten one. And it's gray too, Jessup.
I don't mind gray shirts.
Gray shirts actually are pretty cool. I have a lot of them.
Now, cement gray
That is
cars.
pretty close to cement or concrete gray, depending on what stage it's in.
Oh, I still have my sticker on it. Whoops.
What are you repping, Jessup?
I pulled out a random shirt and I ended up with the 25th annual Dakota Classic Modified Tour.
Excellent.
Neat.
25th annual. What year are
What
we
year
on?
are we on, Becca?
Sorry, I was reading something on Facebook. What?
What
Oh, and
year
you
is the
guys lecture
mod
me about
tour?
not paying attention.
What year is the mod tour going into this year? I'm not trying to
30,
quiz you or anything. I just can't remember off
no,
the top of my head.
36, 37.
Okay,
They
I,
took
I was
over.
like, I thought we were in the 30s.
They took over on year 35, I believe. So this would be the
Let's look.
36th.
This one would be Mason. It appears the 2014 shirt.
Oh, wow. Now, see, if John were here,
He
he
would
would.
lecture us about things that people wouldn't remember, like the chassis brand of the 14th place finisher, of the B main at Williston, and what brand of rims he was using.
No, I'm just going off a total guess off the top of my head. But around 2013, 2014, I'm guessing it was either a Taylor car that was winning in the modifieds, or Hunter Marriott was just starting his complete dominance.
Well, let's take a look.
Before
The
Hunter's
previous year,
dominance, but yeah.
the previous year was Aaron Turnbull in the
Which he, I
IMCA
believe, had a
mod,
Taylor car.
and it was Elijah Zevenbergen.
That's a shocker.
No, not really.
That
Because that was about the time when he started coming up and whooping everyone. You're wrong, Mason. You're wrong. I don't
I
like the
really need to make a
sarcasm.
sign that says sarcasm.
I'm saying it's
Hmm.
sarcasm.
Anyways, cool shirt, Jessup.
Thank you,
Repping a
Mason.
Sunoco hat. Found this kind of in my random stash of hats I found. Kind of a pretty neat hat. And the shirt, I'm representing Kurt Kranz from Watertown, South Dakota. Here is a Minnesota late model and a Gen X late model. And I don't know if he's going to be at the car show that's going to be taking place in Aberdeen this weekend, but he is all geared to go. And I believe his cars are all set to go for the race season. So you'll see him at multiple tracks across Wissota country heading into 2025. And so that is who or what we are repping for episode 5 of season 4. And we'll move on to the hot sauce, hot memory rewind, and give a shout out to Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro, driver of the number 12S IMCA Modified, who revealed his paint scheme for the year this last week at the Magic City Car and Trade Show, a throwback to the late Dick Schultz in the 104, who is also from the Turtle Lake Harvey area. And so it was a very, very nice looking throwback, very nice tribute, and Schultz family and the Sandros and anyone in Turtle Lake are very, very closely associated. So it's awesome to see that paint scheme come to life. And so go check out 12S Racing on Facebook to keep tab of Isaac during the season. You may not only see him behind the wheel, but you may also hear him on the mic as well, because he announces from time to time and does a very good job doing that. And so thank you, Isaac, for your support on the podcast. Now, Jessup said he's going to stump us both, and being that John's not here to kind of assist us, let's see if that's true, Jessup.
Oh, it will be true.
I laugh if he thinks like, oh, these are gonna be really, really hard, and we get them all right
They
without
should be
John.
pretty. You should get 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Okay.
But I will not be shocked if you get stumped. The first one.
A number 7.
Harry Hansen?
That is correct.
That's what I was gonna guess.
That was a legit guess.
That is correct. It's one of the earlier designs for Harry. Miss Harry and Vicky, great people back home. Handsome Harry from Gary, actually from Gilbert. But anyways, you will not get the second one though.
What number is that even? Is that an
What?
18?
And it's a 16. I've
A
given you too
16.
much information as it is.
Oh,
It is a national champion.
what state's this driver from?
Minnesota.
Is it Steve Vessel?
No. Now I'm going to really throw you off for a loop. He is not a national champion in late models. Yeah, would you like another hint?
Sure.
He is a pure stock national champion.
Oh, Corey Jorgensen?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I never knew he
Wasn't
drove
that
a late model.
weren't those? Oh yeah, he's driven late models. I used to drive by his place all the time just to see if he had his cars out between the modified and the late model. He literally lived at one point like 20 feet from the road. So you could look
Nice.
straight into his garage and see the car. So being a young race fan, knowing where people have race cars, I would be like, ooh, maybe I should go see if he's racing this week.
I do miss those days of kind of driving with my dad through Minot and be like, oh, hey, someone's working on the race car in their garage.
Yep.
And then it's a sad day when they like move or they don't have the race car anymore. It's like, oh,
Yeah, it is rough. Now, last one.
A red 19.
Yep.
let's start with Steve Larson.
There it is.
Okay.
Good job, Mason. Did your back hurt?
Yeah, a little bit.
I
mean,
thought I
did.
gave you good hints.
You did.
I was very good at leading. I also could have thrown you off pretty good with the Jorgensen one.
Yeah, I honestly, without those hints, I would not have guessed Jorgensen because I didn't realize he drove
A pure stock?
well, I knew he drove a previous stock. I didn't realize he drove a late model though.
Oh yeah, handful of times. Handful of years.
Because the last couple of years he's been in the Midwest mod.
Yep. Is he back in Midwest Mods?
Yep, I actually have his paint scheme in my database for this year.
Oh, nice.
It's actually pretty
Wow.
good looking too. I actually like it a lot.
Well, we'll pull it up. So let's see what we're working with.
Okay, hang on. Let me get close.
Anyways, I just saw all these. Now you got to pick the year that this is from.
Oh,
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Oh, that is nice.
this picture right here is from 2025.
And you know where that's at because I know the exact door and location for that.
Where does it take place?
This is at the Duluth Entertainment and Convention Center, aka the Deck in Duluth, Minnesota. It is next to, I don't know if they changed the name, but it was the Amsoil Arena, which is the replacement arena. But the car show takes over the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center, and I think it's Pioneer Hall, which is connected by that small little walk space where the Zambonis go.
Oh.
I've played a lot of hockey in there.
I say that sounds like a place that you probably would have frequented quite a bit.
Yes, I had season hockey tickets. I played hockey there and went to a handful of car shows and other auto events in the facility.
Now, for years on those photos, I'm just gonna guess the year 2000.
They
Becca,
looked old. 1998.
you guys split it.
You're
Oh,
just thinking 99 too.
mm, they looked old. Those, yeah.
Yeah, especially especially Jorgensen's, because that body style, I'm like, that reminds me of like I think I have like a two die-cast cars from that area, and I'm like, I think those are like 98.
Yep, they were 98 or
Well, didn't
99.
do too bad without John. That was
I think
the,
he'd be proud of you. I
yeah,
didn't
he probably
contribute
would
much.
be.
I tried to keep a relative simple theme.
Late models and
There was a
well-known late
theme.
models.
No, they're all from the general area.
Yeah,
Uh,
that they are. Well, that is the hot sauce, hot memory rewind, and onto the track pack report, which we had a couple little things take place. We had the couple car shows, Kirkwood Mall show down in Bismarck, and also the Magic City Car and Trade show up in Minot. Anything of note from the Kirkwood Mall show this year?
Um, some really nice looking cars, a lot of slingshots. Scotty Gartner went on to be old, now officially known as old six time, as he is a six-time car show champion for the modifieds.
Consecutive, correct?
Consecutive.
Jimmy Johnson couldn't even do that.
Nope, nope. So congratulations to old six time. That should be my winner of the week.
We should get, well, I'm kind of trying to put in the works for some track packer stickers. We should get some winner of the week stickers, just some
Oh,
small
that'd be.
ones.
While you're at it, can we get some brooms made up for the broomies of the Western Roundup?
So I'm gonna end up going to Mike's speaker and be like, okay, all right, Mike, I need like a sticker pack. I need
Oh
some
God.
GPP logos, some brooms, some winner of the weeks. Because you think about this, so people get like those. I don't know if they get in IMCA, but the Wissota, you get those feature winner stickers,
Yep.
so they can place the winners of the week stickers
Oh
on
my
their
gosh.
sale panels.
You see, we gotta have them put them somewhere like different than everyone else.
Rear bumper.
No, no, that's sponsorship area.
Well, no, you could like the sponsor's
They're
usually in
not.
the center of it, but on the
They're not.
sides,
They're not going to be that big.
I was gonna say deck.
people won't really see them that too much though.
Hmm.
Well, I'll think on this because I could actually probably get Mike to come up with some fun stuff. We'll probably have to wait until like the beginning of the year gets going because this time of the year graphic designers are very, very busy.
Yep. Mid-season. Dear Donnie Schatz, here is your winner of the week sticker. We expect you to rock it proudly on this part of your car. Do not let us down. Sincerely, Trek Packer Podcast.
I mean, I know he's got several connections around here. I can easily make that happen. He'd probably be
Dear
so
Don,
confused.
he'd be like, "Who are these people?" Dear Donald.
I don't think he really remembers me too much besides seeing me at the racetrack because he babysat me when I was like a year old.
Dear Mr. Shots, it's time for you to repay the debt. Put my sticker on your car.
I forgot he babysat you. That is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course, I don't remember that, but yeah, my mom always tells me, it's like, oh yeah, Donnie Schatz babysat you during your sister's basketball games. I'm like, nice. He
That's
is
awesome.
influencing me from a very young age.
Mhm.
You're going to like racing. Although Jessup's probably like, why didn't you just immediately like sprint cars that after that?
Yeah.
Well,
That's a real good question, Mason.
was he even racing sprint cars at that particular point in his career? He might have been racing with Soda.
Yeah, sprint cars.
Would have been
Don't rock your eyes at me.
no, I'm trying to think. I'm thinking it would have been. I would have been BSAT if my sister was playing basketball. It would have been like 96 to 98. And I think he was starting out in sprint cars around that
Oh,
point.
Well.
I was wrong.
That's not really a caution.
It.
'Cause I didn't give her a year on like when I was watching high school. So, well, yeah. Any other thoughts from the Kirkwood Mall show now that we slightly got off tangent?
Great turnout by the slingshot division. I think you're going to see a lot of growth in that racing division this year, partly because Dakota Speedway brought them on full time. So there's quite a few youngsters just right here in the Bismarck-Madon area racing. And hopefully they'll travel to area racetracks, maybe Jamestown, maybe Southwest Speedway, McLean, Nodak Speedway, Williston, who knows, right? But I think there's going to be some big growth within that division, and I'm excited to see what comes of it. Where these youngsters are going to go. Are they going to move up into other racing divisions? Are they going to just age out and go into other activities or interests? It's going to be interesting to see what happens. So it'll be a fun first year of the Slingshots racing full time at Dakota Speedway.
Well, I think that's a point we didn't totally bring up the last time we talked about slingshots, because of course Jamestown's been racing them for years, and they're not too far away from each other, Mandan and Jamestown, so you'll
Mm-mm.
probably see some crossover and give those slingshot drivers in Jamestown another place to race as well. So I think there'll be a good strong car count in Mandan for the slingshots, and you also got some minor drivers that'll probably come down as well.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, I was trying to make a double trip if I could swing it to try to sneak in the car show in Mandan on the way up to Minot because I decided to do a quick trip on Sunday up to the Magic City Car
Never
and Trade
invited
Show.
me.
I I was not going to be able to make it to both, and I desperately wanted to make the Minot one. I'm like, Pelkey's and John got that covered. I'll go up to the Minots. They had a smaller area of the state fair circuit compared to where we were last year, Jessup. So didn't
Oh,
have as many cars, but they filled up the entire space. Like there was not really much more room to fit cars. So I'd say it was about 16 to 20 cars, dirt track cars in there.
nice.
So still a pretty good turnout in all the classes and some like just at the Kirkwood Mall show, some very, very nice cars. And was kind of trying to listen in on some of the interviews that they were doing at the car show. And so we got a couple new sport mod drivers, Sladen Pfeiffer and Carver Ballroot, I think, who are former slingshot drivers.
Hmm.
So they'll be dabbling their feet in the sport mods this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they do and how quickly they get acclimated to racing some of the bigger cars around Nodak Speedway, or if they go over to Williston and Estevan, which I believe they're planning to do. Otherwise, I didn't get a chance to talk with too many drivers as I got there when it was pretty much almost shutting down. But they are getting set for their test and tune coming up, which I believe got moved to Saturday because I believe they have weather on the horizon for Sunday, which means Saturday is going to be a very busy day this weekend because we're recording this on Friday. So tomorrow it's going to be a very, very busy day for Western North Dakota and as far as practicing goes.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of cars. support the Nodak Speedway Test and Tune, which, like you mentioned, got moved from Sunday to Saturday because I believe there's rain in the forecast on Sunday. So they're going to do the early afternoon practice. I think the time is from noon until 4. And then anyone who wants to race on down to Dakota Speedway, Test and Tune at Dakota Speedway starts at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. for the slingshot drivers. The slingshot drivers will have their own private test and tune to get acclimated to the track, get used to their little race cars, because a lot of these youngsters will be racing a slingshot for the first time. So they have their own little practice session from 1 until 3, and then test and tune for everyone else will start from 4 until 9. So there is time for drivers who want to support Minot to come on down to Dakota Speedway. There's opportunities to do both. Hopefully there will be drivers who take that opportunity, but otherwise I think you're going to see both tests and tunes be nicely supported because the weather's supposed to be really nice on Saturday. And not only are there 2 tests and tunes, there's another racetrack actually going to start racing this weekend. So a lot of action on Saturday, April 12th.
Yeah, Devil's Lake is set to open their season on April 12th this past Saturday because this will come out after the weekend. So hopefully they'll have a very good turnout of cars. And I'll be interested to see what kind of long range travelers we might see because I'm sure there might be a few like out of staters that might show up and try to shake down their cars before they start their seasons closer to home. Because I believe other than Devil's Lake, I think Cedar Lake Speedway is the only other track racing this weekend, and then the following weekend, some of those eastern Minnesota tracks start popping up, and so definitely gonna get busy here very, very quickly. Although next week's Easter, so it probably won't be too much racing going on that weekend. Never know. One rumor I forgot to mention from the Minot Cars show. So Bruce the Man Rudlin, former stock car driver for several years, actually released news this weekend that he's going to be back behind the wheel of a stock car. He's going to be racing full time down at the McLean County Speedway this year in one of Adam Goff's cars. So that'll
That's
be fun to
awesome.
see. That'll be fun to see him back behind the wheel. So no more trophy class for Mr. Bruce. So give someone else a chance to win those races this year. Means that's probably a good opportunity for me to get back behind the wheel of a race car. Now, which class should I do?
You raced for compacts, right? The last time you did it?
No,
No, you raced stock car.
I raced Brody Carlsrud stock car and I raced Vance Tomlinson's hobby stock the year before that. So it's been a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I can find it. I really enjoyed the stock car. Personally, I love stock cars, so I feel like I would default to that. Modifieds, I feel like they're too touchy and too out of control for my taste.
You should just hop in a sport mod to see what it's like.
I'm sure it's a good time, but yeah, I'd be the one that'd be going into the first turn and trying to turn it hard to the left, and you just see the tires just locked up, and I'm just going straight. That would be me. At least with a stock car, I can make it look believable that I know how to drive one of those things. But anyways,
Jessup does have racing experience.
yes,
A little
because
known fact, or maybe he's talked about it a little bit on the podcast. Is he even listening?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. For once, you're not saying anything, so.
Pay attention. Yeah.
Well, half the time I ask you things and you don't even know what I'm talking about, so.
Such as every man whose wife is talking to them.
I wouldn't know.
This is
Anyways.
also a factual point.
Anyways, Jessup has raced before, and you've done enduros, you've done demolition derbies, what else have you done, Jessup?
I had a cup of coffee with kart racing.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. We had a built kart, custom built kart. We tested it 3 or 4 weekends and got to set fast time with one group, and then immediately I think I went, drove it. The next day, I was at an enduro, and my family sold the cart because they didn't
Oh,
want. They made a business decision of they had grown accustomed to the lifestyle that they were living at the time, and traveling for racing was not going to be part of it.
Question. So you're a hockey guy too. Which was more expensive, hockey or if you were continued on in go-karting?
Oh, probably hockey. I don't know. You gotta remember, Mason, I was young enough where I didn't care what the expenses were. And that was back in the days where you actually worked your way up through the classes. Whereas today, families have a nice, not everyone, but it seems like a lot of the racing youngins go, ooh.
Yeah, they accelerate through the ranks pretty dang quick. I mean, some of them catch up pretty dang good.
Oh,
Others,
I'm not making any accusations towards that. There were some really
right.
good young drivers like the ones out east who the 13, 14, not the 13-year-olds. I still think that's stupid. But the 16-year-olds who are racing open late models, the 13-year-olds racing open late models, I really disagree with that. And I know there are people out there that say, well, there are 50-year-old guys who don't deserve to be racing and can't wheel a car if their life depended on it. Well, this 13-year-old, they're talented as can be. Well, sure, that may be true, but when that 13-year-old doesn't like if somebody accidentally gets into them and decides to total out their car and say the 35-year-old's car, who puts every penny and dime into their car, it's a crime for the 35-year-old to go over and beat the living crap out of the 13-year-old.
Yeah, that makes it a difficult situation to deal with.
And then people come back and say, well, it's just a kid. You need to be more understanding.
This could be a CNC topic in itself. Actually, I feel like we've done a CNC on
We
this.
have.
didn't we talk about this at the Bristol Dirt Nationals?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
That was when
Yeah.
the kid jumped another guy's car and the guy wanted to go kill him. And by the time he got to the car, he's like, oh, it's a kid. I can't kill him.
Yeah.
And everyone said, well, the guy shouldn't have been mad that he got hit. That's just a racing situation.
Or my favorite phrase, one of my favorite phrases in racing, it's a racing deal.
Oh yeah. Or that's short track racing.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, Denny.
Oh, Denny.
That's just short track racing.
He was imitating Joey Logano, who's very, very good at short track racing.
So was Matt Kenseth when he wrecked him at Logano at Martinsville.
I loved that so much.
Same. For obvious reasons.
Yeah, for you, it was really good.
Okay, side topic before we get back on track. What is a more memorable moment at Martinsville? The Hail Melon or Kenseth getting his revenge?
So
Well,
for
obviously,
me, it's got to be the Hail Melon, but I didn't watch it live is the problem. I was watching the Martinsville race live when Kenseth junked Logano.
Okay, side criteria with that. Becca, you can answer. I'll follow up with the follow-up question.
so I never actually saw the Kenseth thing live either because I had a bridal baby shower. Actually, I had a baby shower that day.
I'm the only one who watched it live?
No, I watched the Kenseth thing live.
But I was living with my best friend. His name was Shay, and he texted me. He's like, "You're
Oh,
gonna
I'm not your
love."
best friend. Oh, oh, oh.
It was before I met you, but
Dang
he
that
he
shit.
te he texted me. He's like, "I have the race recorded for you, by the way. You're gonna love the finish." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I thought anyway. So I went home and I watched it and then Jeff Gordon won. That was his last victory in the Cup Series, and then we left like 2 days later to go to Texas. We had VIP tickets so we could wander anywhere in the pit areas, in the garages and whatnot. And so I actually got to see Jeff Gordon and
Oh, okay. Well, that's a story for another time
I
because
know
that is a great story.
it is a story for another time, yes. But so when you asked that question, Jessup, another Martinsville memory that came up for me, being a Jeff Gordon fan, was the race that
The cement
yes,
through the grill for Jeff Gordon. Nobody
Oh,
else
yes.
cares.
that pissed me off. So I thought about that
This
race.
is a Pete. Well, actually, no,
That's a
it's not a
mild
caution.
one.
You hold your lane.
And then
Get in your lane.
another race, Martinsville race that I can think of, again, all Jeff Gordon related.
Oh, nobody cares.
He had a flat tire like 20, 30 laps into the race. When 3 laps down, his car was so fast, he unlapped himself and went on to win the race. So it was
I
a
don't think
big
that was
deal.
very memorable compared to the Hail Melon and
No, I would say the Kenseth and the Hail Melon were by far bigger moments in Martinsville history, but those
follow-up
other
question.
moments came to my mind right away. So
Yeah, because it involves Jeff Gordon.
obviously,
You
'cause
probably
he's so
can tell
good.
me the paint schemes from each of the year.
That's pretty easy to come
Yeah,
up with.
he
I already
took-
know the
he-
one he had in the last Martinsville race.
Yeah.
He had the Rainbow Warrior.
No, he
At
didn't.
one of them.
Well,
At one-
He had
Where's
the
the red line,
Exalta
Mason?
Flames.
No,
Actually,
I
his
wasn't
last
talking about-
win was the insurance, the AARP.
He had the ARP car. Wasn't
Yes.
it maroon?
Yeah,
Maroon
maroon
and-
and black.
Well.
So
Now, follow-up question to the first question. Which had greater implications for the season? This should be an easy one. Actually, no, it's not.
Actually, no,
No.
it's not
No,
because
it's not.
Because somebody's favorite driver got denied a position in the playoff chase.
well, both had huge implications because Logano getting wrecked meant that he couldn't make it to the Final Four, and it put Jeff Gordon in.
Was that the year
and-
that Jeff Gordon got unceremoniously just added?
no, that was
No,
2 years before that.
That
Oh,
was in
okay.
2015. This is 2015 when this all happened.
Yep.
So this was his
Oh.
last year in Cup. So it was a big deal that he won Martinsville because that meant he, as a retiring driver, he was going to battle for the championship. So Logano by far was the favorite going into the playoff system that year and got wrecked by Kenseth. And then Kenseth, whose season was already pretty much done going into that race, wrecked Logano. The Hail Melon was a video game move that worked because had he probably replicated that, there's a good chance he might have gotten stuck in the corner gate. There's
Can I throw a caution here?
the wall
Because it was replicated last year.
Not
Not-
totally.
To a
No.
lower level, but it was.
No,
no.
No.
Yes, they did. They disqualified a person for that.
that's it was
It
a safety
wasn't too-
violation,
it-
but it wasn't a true wall ride.
No. Mason could probably show the videos and we could all watch and compare, but
And
There's
the
a-
eyes
there's
of the watchful eyes of NASCAR.
there's actually a gate in that corner wall, and had you replicate that more often than not, you typically would hit that gate with your car, and that would just be a huge safety issue, which is why NASCAR got rid of it. So
I don't like the ruling. I think it was fun, unique, and great.
so it had NASCAR not outlawed it, would you want drivers just rim riding the wall at the end of every Martinsville finish?
Maybe. And be honest, do you think someone would do it every race?
Probably not every race, but
So
If
then
they
your
needed to,
question
they
is
would do it.
invalid. The statement is invalid. The question is invalid. It wouldn't happen at every race.
If
And
you're
to be
within
honest,
like a
if I could see somebody come from 30th, maybe not 30th, let's say 24th to 8th, and to just sneak by one person to get into the playoffs, yeah, that's a heck of a storyline to watch for.
The problem is
Mm.
if they were continue to allow it now, now drivers that are like, say, if they're ahead of someone, they might use it as a defense mechanism. So then they'll just wall ride to make sure they stay in their position. So then you have like 9 or 10 drivers wall riding on 3 and 4 at the same time.
But
Do you really
then
want
Mason,
that?
here's the thing, Mason. If one of them gets stuck in the fence, they all wad up, and the person who stayed low sneaks on in.
This is why it's a safety issue, which is this is
Yeah.
why NASCAR got rid of it.
Why?
It only takes if one of them gets slightly stuck and they get railroaded by 3, 4 other cars behind them. That's a big, well, especially with these tanks of cars that don't give at all.
They're
I
stiff.
just don't understand what the problem is. I think it would be great racing. You would get fans back to the track.
Mm. Mason, we already chatted about NASCAR earlier this week.
No, continue on, Mason.
No.
We don't need another NASCAR rant. That can be saved for the CNC.
That can be saved for later. We'll actually, since we are having a shorter episode this week because we have a bigger episode next week once we get really ready for racing season, give a shout out to the B1 IMCA stock car, Brody Karlsrud, who's getting all set to go for the season. I don't know if he's got his car completely wrapped, but getting pretty dang close. You can follow Brody on Facebook at Brody Karlsrud B1 Racing and also his podcast, The Real Deal with B1, to find the ins and outs of getting ready for the races and what all goes on away from the racetrack. And so thank you, Brody, for supporting us on the podcast as well. And we're going to finish out the episode with some latest and greatest paint schemes, as we have a few more that have been released over the last couple weeks. This weekend, we're going to have a lot more. So, Becca, I know you have a list compiled, so go ahead with yours.
Okay, so up until this past weekend, I really didn't have like a super duper favorite wrap or paint scheme going into the season so far. But like I said, up until this weekend. So that changed. One of my favorite paint schemes that I've seen so far is the number 11 of Alex Braun. He's an IMCA stock car driver out of Dickinson. It's a bush light. I think it's to replicate the Kevin Harvick's paint scheme from his final year of NASCAR Cup racing. But it's a beautiful wrap on his IMCA stock car. And then it even glitters, which I'm all about the sparkle and all about the shine. So it's a really nicely done bush light wrap on that IMCA stock car. That's by far bush. One of my favorite paint schemes wraps of the season so far. Another one I liked was one of the photos you sent, Mason, in our little chat. Number 14 of Abby Tellman. She's an IMCA Sport Compact driver from Nodak, or Minot. Pink and purples and blues are my favorite colors, but this paint scheme is primarily white, pink, and purple, and I think it just looks really, really nice on this IMCA Sport Compact. And then another one I really liked.
Who was that driver, Becca?
Abby Tellman.
Okay. Never mind. I was just
Boy,
asking.
you're petty.
Yeah,
I was just wondering.
he's searching.
He is searching hard for a caution. Okay.
High and low, baby. High and low.
Okay. And then I really liked Chris Tusher's IMCA stock car. He raced.
Why do we always let her take the good ones?
I snuck that one in at the last second.
Yeah, you did.
Sorry. Okay, I don't like
No,
that
it's
car.
too late.
Sorry.
You already gave it. You took it.
You can take
over.
my other
No,
one.
it's too late.
I had a 4. Okay, fine.
Yeah, 4.
You want my 4?
Nope.
Okay. Well, anyway, I liked Chris Tusher's car. It primarily races an IMC modified. It looks like he got himself an IMC stock car, which has been quite the theme here in North Dakota, with drivers doing double duty. And this is kind of a different look. In a lot of ways, it looks a lot like his IMC modified, but it's definitely got more pop of color compared to the modified. And I love his use of blues and dark blues, blacks, and then just a hint of orange in it, and it just looks really, really nice. So can't wait to see it in person on the track. So. But it's a really sharp ride for Chris Tusher.
So shout out to Breckle on this, because when I was talking with him earlier this week, that is the old Ryan Satter stock car that he got.
I saw that in the chat. That's right.
Yep. So pretty good looking car, and I think he's gonna have a lot of fun with that this year.
Hmm.
All right, Jessup, you go next. I won't steal any from your list, I'm sure.
Do you want some of mine?
How can you steal any if I go ahead of you?
That's what I'm saying. I'll
Anyhow,
let you go ahead.
did we? I don't know which ones I want to go with now. I like Chad Becker's car. I thought that looked really sharp. Then let's go back through my little list of people. Do do do.
Eh,
Mason, I'm going to need your help here. In our group chat, we had modified number 75. It's blue.
That's John's. That one's John's.
Oh, dang. Okay, well, I don't
That
get to
one's John's. That is
John's.
his
you're
favorite
you're
one.
gonna steal one from John?
Okay,
He'd
what
be really
is
upset if you stole that one.
okay? Then we'll go with the Lilo, number
Number
24 late
24.
model.
Okay.
I thought that was nice and clean looking. And let's see, what other ones did I mention prior to this tonight?
I only showed you like 60 schemes, so you gotta pick
Well,
a
that's
couple
the
from that.
problem, Mason. You showed me like 60, and I didn't write any of them down because I don't
Why?
have anything
Whose
here to
fault is
write.
that?
You
A
always
lot of
have pen and
people's probably
paper.
I do, but I couldn't go get it because I had to get somebody else's flags for tonight.
Oh, putting the blame on
That was
someone
bef
else.
Mason was showing all those paint schemes before he brought me the flags.
This is true too.
We just had a late model that I liked. I can't remember who it was.
I mean, you've listed two late models already.
I know, but I like late models. There should be more.
You were
Well,
criticizing some earlier.
I'll say Scotty Gartner's because I'm biased. I like his new colored chicken nugget bucky,
The fluorescent red.
fluorescent red, and the gold arches, which are actually gold.
That is a nice subtle change they has this
Yep,
year.
Hmm.
it'll really pop on the track.
There was what about Carrie Hansen's late model?
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
I think that was
Well,
the
I'm
one.
looking through our group chat and there's nothing there. And Mason's got them all hidden in his little drive, which he's not sharing.
He shows us before every podcast.
Yes, and there's a way you can look at all the media at once. I don't know exactly how to do it on
Yeah,
your phone.
You click, yeah.
I am, but oh, maybe there's
Oh
five.
wait, this is Jessup and phones. He doesn't really work well with phones and
Oh,
technology.
there's some really old stuff here. What do you guys
Yeah.
got on this?
So
Yeah, and my other one is Tim Ward. I knew there was
Yes.
another late model there.
Oh, jeez, late models. Good grief.
Why are you so against late models?
I'm not against
Late
late
model
models.
I
that's
laugh
what
at you.
matter.
I laugh at you
I don't. Why are you laughing at me?
because all the time you ask these questions, and I'm just like, if you just Googled some of the answers, you
I've been doing that
know.
a lot lately.
Well, I would have said Chris Tuchscherer until someone changed their mind at the last second to add him. So
You got to be ready. You got to have extras.
I had
you know
extras
what?
in
I
case they
think
got
you're all
stolen.
just out to get me.
You just got to be prepared.
You gotta be prepared.
Well, I got four more that I like. I personally like Landon Rand's Midwest Modified, white with pink and my favorite shade of blue in it. And those are like the three colors. If they're on a race car, it's the odds are I'm gonna like that car quite a bit. And so he's already been racing down at Lucas Oil Speedway down in Missouri, and so he's gonna have a pretty good season now that he's got surgery out of the way from last year, and he'll be one to watch in the Midwest Modifieds. Speaking of Midwest Modifieds, just released today, McKenna Rummel's number 15. Another white, pink, and blue. Thank you, Becca, for sharing that one. And she's coming off the National Rookie of the Year in the Midwest Modifieds, and she will be racing at Devils Lake this weekend. And so hopefully she has a good, strong sophomore season behind that machine as well. Third, I'm actually going to pick Cole Searing because I think that car is pretty nice. White, fluorescent red, and quite a bit different than previous years' schemes. And I believe he's going to be racing at Cedar Lake this weekend. So, and he travels quite a bit, and who knows what his plans are for the year, but he's another one that you have to watch. Pretty dang close. And then the fourth one, and I don't know if I've shared this with the group, but I will actually share it here on the podcast. I've loved a lot of the Iowa schemes, and this is probably one of my favorites. Devin Smith, number 81 IMCA stock car.
Have you been hiding paint schemes from
He
us?
has.
Well, the problem is like we don't know a lot of Iowa people, so I just saved a bunch of the ones I liked, which is like 60 or 70 of them. And so this is one I was like, this is pretty dang cool. Fluorescent red, slightly pink, and white. I like it.
It is
So
sharp.
those are my four. I'll have plenty more for the next few weeks, especially I've been going to shops the last couple weekends too, so I've seen a sneak peek of several schemes, but they're not fully done or fully wrapped. So it's like people haven't completely released their looks. Like, dang it, I can't release those yet either. So hopefully after this weekend, a lot more of those will be released so that we can all share in enjoying what people have got cooked up for the 2025 season. Anything that you guys are besides practice day, anything other else on the immediate horizon for you guys?
I need to update our orbits, which is our timing and scoring software at Dakota Speedway. And if there's any racing officials listening or watching this podcast, don't wait until opening day to update your orbits. Do it before the racing season starts because you can run into some issues or some hiccups. So if you have questions, you still have time to call or troubleshoot them or whatever. So tomorrow I'll be out at the track. I'll be updating our orbits and getting our timing and scoring up and running and making sure that works for the season. I know John has already gone out to the track and started setting up at Dakota Speedway and mentioned that our FM transmitter isn't working. So that's the tool we use to broadcast the races on, like FM radio. So I need to figure out what may be the issue with that. And if I can't figure it out, we may have to go buy a new piece of equipment. But yeah, just getting ready for racing season because we're testing and tuning this weekend or this past weekend, but in 2 weeks we'll be racing. So we'll see what happens.
Speaking of that, you mentioned officials. I don't know if we've talked since that officials training. How did that go?
I think I saw a benefit out of it because it brought a lot of racetracks together and hopefully put racetracks on the same page in a lot in some ways, but probably not always. But I definitely think more tracks could have utilized it. I think there's what 15 people there, Jessup.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Good turnout from a lot of Western North Dakota tracks. But like I said, if it can put a lot of racetracks on the same page in regards to officiating and doing it in a similar style, I think it's a good thing. So I hope John Gardner Sr. continues to do it. Maybe not every year, but maybe every other year or every 3 years, and maybe incorporate some sort of safety thing to it, like bring in a race car and show volunteers like this is what you do to extract a driver when this situation happens or that situation happens. You know, some drivers use the quick roof system. Other drivers don't have that. So just kind of going over different scenarios on how to get a driver out safely if they're in a wreck. I think that'd be cool. So I had a great time just being there for the couple of hours I was there.
Nice. Yeah, it sounded like it was some really good feedback and really good for people to get somewhat on the same page because of course every track kind of operates a little bit differently, which makes them unique. So anything else from you, Jessup, coming up?
Not really. We got to head to the track tomorrow, start getting all the TV stuff set up and go from there. We got to see what updates we got to do over the next week and make some minor adjustments to a few details and hopefully don't need any um, pieces of equipment that we don't have because we have pretty much everything, a backup for just about everything except for a few one major piece, but well, two major pieces. But outside of that, those two bigger pieces, there's really not too much stuff that we need to get an update on.
Well, and you now have a backup cameraman with Riley.
Yep. She's gonna announce.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Appa. That's her new favorite word right now.
Ah.
Appa.
Abba.
Appa.
Abba.
And
Yeah, I don't have too much coming up. I'm gonna try to hit Devil's Lake up on the 19th. That's gonna be my only race of the month. And hopefully, I don't know if I'll have it before that race, but I'm hopefully gonna have a new drone by then. Or at least by the 1st of May. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we get that situated. So with that, that'll do it for episode 5 of season 4 for the Track Packers podcast. As always, be sure to follow our Facebook page, Track Packers Podcast, and give us a listen on the listening platforms, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And be sure to give us a 5-star review, and you may go home with some swag. Thank you to our sponsors, Hitch Harness, The Real Deal with B1, and Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro. Weather is good. Race season is here, so we hope to see you all out there packing the track.